The last 12 months has given us the opportunity to re-look at all the material that we have for Kaspar, to be able to play and dream in a new way, and with that has brought the possibility of bringing on new people. It means bringing in new working theatre practices. One part of the play of Kaspar's story that we've neglected or we haven't quite yet fulfilled is the sensorial experience. So Kaspar was a young man who came out of near sensory deprivation and came into the world overwhelmed by the magnitude of stimulus that we ourselves take for granted. So this week has been an opportunity to step back and allow new things into the space, and those things are geared all around the sensorial experience that we want our audiences to take away. Vicky Ackroyd, she's an Access champion and a specialist in sensory theatre, all things sensory theatre, and this year has given us the opportunity to speak to her about the process, to speak to her about the play, about the story of Kaspar Hauser. So we've brought Vicky into the space to upskill us, to introduce us to a new world that we've never played with, and it's been really exciting to see the actors have the freedom to take each sense by itself, whether it be taste or smell, all the things that we might neglect, and just have the time, have the resources to play.
We inhabit a really sensory world, but a lot of the time it goes unnoticed and it's unconscious, so we don't notice the things we smell, taste, touch, see and hear. So what we've been doing is really getting in touch with all of those senses and exploring the characters through the senses, and also work with the designer as well to see how some of those sensory elements can be literally in the show, so the audience will also be able to experience them as well. It adds another layer, so it's a layer of interest, intrigue, a layer of just getting to know your character, and particularly if you think about Kaspar, who's been locked and trapped inside for a long time, his sensory experience is going to be enormous. It's going to be absolutely huge, and he's going to notice everything in a way that we don't. With this show, what's also exciting as well is I'm involved so early that we can really explore the script and find out how to make it accessible, so that we don't need that extra layer. It's actually already in the script, and it doesn't diminish anything, it doesn't dilute anything. It adds a creative layer, and I think rather than thinking about things like creative captioning, audio description, BSL, sign language, etc., rather than thinking of those as access tools, I think we have to move forward and think of them as creative additions and creative layers that will enhance and support actually lots of people, not just somebody with a particular specific impairment, just to get ourselves out of our heads, because that's where we spend most of our time, into our hands and into our senses. I brought loads of props, loads of things to taste, smell, touch, see and hear. So things to have a sound effect that might make a sound, things to eat, always good, and then things that we could touch and look at. Then I've got a sensory audit, so we explored that. So that was basically favourite things to taste, smell, touch, see and hear, all those senses. We switched them round once we'd written those favourite things down, and the task was to create a favourite, a perfect day for that individual based solely on those sensory choices. So I'm really excited to see what happens at the next stage as well, to see if as an audience we walk in and we kind of smell and we're able to taste things and certainly touch things as well, so that feels really exciting.
We've been really interested as a company for a long time now of how we integrate certain working practices from a very early point. And we've been interested in tearing down the walls that separate an audience and a piece of theatre. The senses are a little bit of an inroad into that. You can cast the world all around the audience through a smell. You can transport every single audience member just through a sound. So just taking the time to bring those in at an early point and play with them and like a real experiment. Which ones work, which ones don't work, what needs more clarity, what doesn't need more clarity, how can we refine it, make it simple. You know, as you can see, we've got lots of things in the space, tons of different stimulus, objects, articles of clothing, props, pieces of set, and it's all about experimenting. It's all about asking ourselves the question, how do we transport the audience as soon as possible and as simply as possible into the heart of the Kaspar Hauser story?